Hey, what's going on, guys? EC here, and today I want to talk about the five new, or I say new, the five legacy carts for Evercade that have just been. I say just been now; it's been like 2 weeks, but I had a little controversy because I'll be honest, I got some stuff wrong. I got some stuff wrong in that video, so we're on correct the record. So we got these five Evercade carts here, the Atari ones. They're no longer going to be produced by the end of the year. So if you don't already have these cartridges, you need to get them in your collection now if you want them, because hear me out. I feel like these three at the back, Atari Collection 1, Atari Collection 2, Atari Arcade Collection 1, are probably the ones that you need the least when it comes to your collection, because these games are such early builds, such early games, and whilst they do want being preserved and they do want being on multiple platforms, these ones have been re-released so many times across everything. The Atari VCS, Atari 50, Atari Flashbacks Collection, the Atari Flashback consoles. These games are everywhere. I mean, even the new My Arcade Game Station Pro have most of these games. Now, moving on from them, the ones you really want to look at is the Atari Lynx collections. The Atari Lynx was a coloured handheld back in the time of the Game Boy. And surprisingly, the Atari Lynx didn't do as well as a lot of people would have expected it to do, because remember, it was in the 80s, and during the 80s, Atari was still quite a big name in gaming, but they were losing a lot of ground to Nintendo and Sega. And the Atari Lynx was apparently more powerful than this Game Gear had, and annoyingly, it didn't do as well. Annoyingly, no one could catch Nintendo during that era. But with these, obviously, you get like what you got eight games on one collection, 17 on the other from the Atari Lynx, and this is basically just the highlights of some of the best games on the Atari Lynx. Now, if you're obviously a huge retro enthusiast and you don't know what the Atari Lynx is, you need to get these collections as soon as you can, and if you have an Evercade, because when they go out of stock, that's it. I don't see them getting reprinted literally for a long time, or if ever. Now, why is this relevant? Well, I feel like because quite a few licenses are starting to expire with Evercade for certain cartridges, we now have 10 legacy cartridges. To me, it makes me a little bit skeptical of the future for some other cartridges. For example, the Codemasters collection. Well, EA now owns Codemasters. You know, EA has apparently not really a big fan of re-releasing legacy games. So do I think we're going to see another Codemasters collection? No, I don't think. I think Codemasters are dead one to do now, and I think that cartridge will obviously will become a legacy cartridge soon or sometime in the future. Same with the first Intellivision collection. I feel like those two will probably be gone soon. But with Atari, obviously, it's quite unfortunate, because obviously Atari was known for licensing their games to basically everyone. But apparently they've signed some sort of exclusive deal with My Arcade, and they're obviously working on the Atari VCS, and they've got the Atari 50 stuff out. So I kind of see why they wouldn't really need these Evercade cartridges now. But I also see it as quite... I don't know, it's kind of a bittersweet thing for Blaze, because obviously Blaze, just... Well, technically they've lost the ability to print 5 cartridges, which in total have added about, what, 70, 80 games to the Evercade lineup at the, obviously, like, I think it's like 500, 600 games on Evercade. But then you got to consider that, to me, and to a lot of people, I know, like PK Universe spoke about this as well, a lot of people don't see these three at the back as much of a loss, because these games are so easy to obtain in other forms and other collections and other platforms. Whilst the two down here, the Atari Lynx collections, they're the ones that people are more concerned with, because obviously, well, the Atari Lynx collections, we've never really seen many of the Lynx games being re-released. And whilst you can get some Lynx games on the Atari 50th anniversary collection, there's no other way to get those games unless you track down either a original copy on the original handheld, or you emulate it. Like, they're your only real ways of getting these Lynx games in most forms. That's just how I see it. Now, obviously, I know obviously I'm quite biased, and obviously I am obviously a big fan of Atari. I own stock in Atari and whatnot, but I've also owned a majority of the cartridges that Evercade's ever put out. I think I'm missing like either 2 or 4 of the newest ones that they've done, but I think it's quite sad in my opinion, because obviously Atari was one of the first companies to sign on with Blaze, and it seems like we're seeing more and more of these like earlier adopters of Evercade start to like pull back and move on to other things. But then you also have companies like Pico Interactive, who are clearly locking in for a long term with Evercade and releasing more cartridges. In fact, the reason the first Pico cartridge was pulled from sale was largely because Atari actually bought some of the games back off Pico. That's just how it is though. Obviously, I know people don't like my takes on Evercade, and I'm probably one of the more controversial and polarizing figures in the Evercade scene. But that's just my opinion. I kind of feel like I can see the negatives from both sides, but I can also understand that Blaze wants to move forward, focus on newer games, newer licenses, newer things. They've got Sun stuff, they've got these indie games coming. And I think indie games are probably a lot easier for Blaze to secure. Because when you look at a company like, say, Atari is a weird hodgepodge of libraries, for example. You know, like Atari's made a load of their own consoles, but they also sold a load of IPs and bought a load of IPs. Atari's a really mixed company when you look at what they own. For example, they own games like Demolition Racer, but they sold games like Driver. They sold games like Alone in the Dark, but they bought stuff like the M Network library. They have a very weird lineup of stuff. And I kind of feel like this could actually be beneficial more so for both sides, because obviously now Blaze can focus on newer games and newer licenses and whatnot, and Atari can focus on like their decisions like the Atari 2600 Plus and Atari VCS and all this sort of stuff. Now, well, I admit my last video on this stuff was quite like quick jump I jumped the gun. I will say that, and I will say, yeah, that was a mistake to do. I should have thought the video through better, but what I'll say, and a lot of people don't understand this about that video. I had put out a video, I think it was like a few hours, like an hour or two before the Evercade announcement, and I had basically talked about a Bubsy collection, and I want to see a Bubsy collection, and suddenly I get a notification on my way to work, hey, the Atari carts are done, they're gone. So I'll admit I jumped the gun out of annoyance, and that video, it's a weird video. I haven't checked, but a lot of people didn't seem to like it. I haven't checked like the actual dislike ratio, because obviously YouTube hides the dislike ratio now. But yeah, I know it wasn't well received. I know a lot of people were critical of me for it. But yeah, after taking some reflect, I got to admit, I do see the positives and negatives of both sides. But I do got to admit, I think if you're a collector and you're a diehard Evercade fan, you need to get these games just for your collection. And even if you're not a diehard Evercade fan, you should at least pick up the Atari Lynx collections. They're a lot more sort of indie stuff that you would see on other platforms. And I feel like what Atari should do in the future is obviously try and find a way to bring more Lynx games out in a way, because obviously Lynx never really got a shot, and well, it was such a great handheld, and no one really talked about it, and it never really got the love it deserved. And what annoys me with Atari, straight up, and I'm saying this as an investor and as someone, as a fan, but I kind of feel like Atari just they focus too much on the 2600 and 7800. Like, that's why I sort of didn't really gelled with these sort of collections. Like when I first got these collections, like I got these two collections before I even got into investing and before I even really got into Atari. So I've had these collections in my library for about 3 years. I've barely played them. And then obviously I got Atari 50 when that came out, and Atari 50. On Atari 50 I was playing more the Lynx games and the Jaguar stuff, so hopefully Atari can sort it out. But yeah, like, it's kind of sad, but if you guys obviously want to get these cartridges, make sure you go to Amazon or Funstock, wherever you can get them from, before they sell out. If you want to complete your collection now's the time to do it. You've got to the end of the year before these carts are no longer in print. And like the Technos cart, obviously it's worth quite a lot on the second-hand market now, so there is that. But I do feel like these ones at the back, these three will probably remain quite cheap on the second-hand market, but these two at the front, I don't think they're going to remain that cheap. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're new here, subscribe, like, share, comment, turn notifications. I've been EC, and I'm signing out. Peace.